What does this mean for the wider conflict? What next? These are going to be the questions that will be answered. Monica Verma, political and strategic affairs expert, is on the broadcast with us. Major Gaurav Arya is also on the broadcast with us, editor of the Chanakya. Major Gaurav,
allow me to just ask you one quick question of Major Arya. I was just waiting for him to connect to us. Major Arya, good morning first of all. I want you to talk to our viewers about the B-2 bombers. So much has been, said about it since, the last 2 days. Now that we have a confirmation of the strike, what are these mean machines?
First of all, I'm given to believe that they are over $2 billion apiece. I mean, that must be some magnificent piece of machinery. That is what they say. Of course, traveling long distances without refueling more than 10,000 kilometers. After refueling more than 18,000 kilometers, capacity to carry these bombs, these GBUs, transcontinental. So apparently they took off from mainland USA. Now, more details are coming out, but that is what we initially hear. That is where they came out from. They went to Iran, and Trump announced everything after they had crossed Iranian airspace. Stealth is one thing, and of course, they have a couple of platforms that can do this job, but I think the B-2 Spirit was rightly chosen, and it has done its job. You see, they had absolute air superiority over Tehran. That is what Israel had said time and again. We own the skies. That is what they said time and again. We own the skies over Tehran, and then America comes. And this entire thing, one very, very interesting thing. This is the second time that Trump has played the deception card. First, he said Steve Witkoff is going to talk to you guys on Sunday. Then they end up getting, bombed on a Friday. And then he says, I have 2 weeks. I'll make up my mind after 2 weeks. And in between those 2 weeks, suddenly we get up in the morning and we hear that everything is done. And Fordow, their biggest headache is, according to Trump, it is absolutely destroyed. They threw, I don't know, 5 or 6 GBUs there. Whether at one site or whether at 3, I don't know. But that is what they did. So, yeah, great job done. And it saves in the long run. It saves us a headache in Kashmir. That is why the strike was so important.
I'm glad that, you're drawing that parallel, and we'll talk about it in just a bit, Major Arya. But, let's talk more about Fordow. People say that, and there are many reports, some credible, that suggest that it is half a mile deep inside earth, covered by the rocky terrain, and only the GBU 57 could have done the job.
No, absolutely. Estimates are close to 200 feet. So essentially what happens is that in case of a GBU, you put a GBU right where you want it, right? It goes deep inside, and then I think what the Americans may have attempted there, and this is my analysis and my guess, put GBU after GBU. So it goes deeper and deeper. It has been tested. And during tests, this is what actually happened with the GBUs. So it is 200 plus 200. So it can really go down, and it is GPS, there is a GPS built into the GBU 57. So it hits exactly where it's supposed to hit, and it hits one, creates a crater, goes really down. Another one goes right there in the block hole, and again blasts everything down there. So I think Fordow is pretty much done and dusted, pretty much.
This is in fact one site which you called it a headache. That is one side that Israel has also been talking for long, and it was also out of reach for Israel. Major Gaurav, previously Israel has also tried to hit this site, but it did not achieve much success, mainly because of the fact that it was deep underground, and Iran had it deep underground with this very intention. In fact, it had also made it in a way that other than the United States, perhaps no other country could have reached it, isn't it? So the President Trump has also spoken about how only the US strikes could have taken them out. So the significance of the Fordow nuclear site and also the other sites, as President Trump has spoken about, he says the other sites are going to be very easy to hit.
No, absolutely. But we must not forget the role so-called Field Marshal Asim Munir has played. And I think he has been instrumental in all of this. Just imagine that America enters the war a couple of days after they have lunch at the White House, and they help them. You never know, it will come out. There were reports in the media about US reconnaissance planes flying over Pakistani airspace, mapping the entire Iranian terrain for them because it's safe for them to do so, and there will be no attacks because they are flying inside Pakistani airspace. And I think one must not in any way lessen the impact that Field Marshal Asim Munir, I've been saying it for 1 year now. More than 1 year, I've been saying it time and again that Pakistan will betray Iran. Today, I think much of that betrayal is complete. The way Pakistan has handed over its sites to the US to hit Iran, the way Pakistan has given its airspace for reconnaissance, the way the Pakistani parliament and everybody said, Pakistan also played a game of deception. Like Trump played a great game of deception by saying that, we are going to take some more time and we are in talks. Similarly, Pakistanis always quoted saying that, hey, we are Muslims, both countries are Muslims, that this is a question of the Muslim Ummah. They played this Muslim Ummah card to perfection, and then they backstabbed Iran. So you cannot, in any way, in any circumstance, lessen the impact that Field Marshal Asim Munir has had in this war. He is the man from Pakistan's side who is responsible for the absolute and complete betrayal of Iran. Trump is an enemy. Trump was expected to do it, but you don't expect it, from so-called friends. And this is exactly what Pakistan did. This is exactly what Asim Munir did.
Snake, but don't trust Pakistan has been put in action. Major Arya, I just want to ask you, how do you expect Iran to respond? What is the capability that they have? How are you expecting this response from Iran to come in from their proxies, from their allies?
See, the proxies are pretty much dead. Hezbollah, another senior leader of Hezbollah, killed 24 hours back. Israel again bombed Lebanon. Hamas is keeping quiet. They don't want to interfere too much. There will be one or two reckless maneuvers, but every passing day, Israel and America will degrade and denude Iran's capacity to fight. Ayatollah Khamenei has already named his successor, 3 possible successors. He's out of the picture. The regime is collapsing as we speak. So to think that there will be a structured response from Iran, there will be a desperate response. I'm not saying there will be no response. Of course, there will be a desperate response. But to think that there will be a credible, structured response from Iran looks unlikely in the coming days. Looks very unlikely.
Okay.
Monica Verma, what do you make of what President Trump has finally done?
Well, it's a Sunday morning and I was hoping for a late start to the day. But as Gaurav has already said, he has not taken only Iran by surprise, but I think the entire strategic affairs community across the world is very shocked, because yesterday all of us were talking about a Nobel Peace Prize for Trump. And he was posting this on the social media that, there are so many wars that I've stopped. And he has been claiming for the 17th time now this fake claim that he got India and Pakistan to have a ceasefire. And the same man for whom everyone was vouching for a Nobel just a day ago is suddenly, striking nuclear sites in Iran. So I think that's a fantastic contrast and something that I was not expecting at all. I would not lie and make claims that, no, I could see it coming. I definitely was not seeing it coming at all. I was thinking maybe for 15 days, Trump is someone, if you analyze his personality, he's someone who's always making big claims. But he seldom, backs those claims with action. So I thought maybe he's doing all this to just shore up support domestically and, kind of consolidate his domestic constituency. But what he has done is absolutely something which will have far-reaching repercussions, especially for a country like India. Because for us, Iran is a very important partner. We have our whole Central Asia connectivity dependent on Iran. And, Iran pursuing a nuclear option was never a good thing for India, like Gaurav has also said, and I'm sure previous panelists would also agree with me that, we require Iran without sanctions, not just for oil, but also for connectivity. We are dependent on the entire West Asian region for our oil. 80% of it is still being imported from that region. So any war that escalates now, any tension that, becomes more dense now, will definitely take an impact on India's economy. We need to focus on our own.
Because you're talking about oil, Strait of Hormuz, Major Arya, is critical now.
That is exactly what Iran will. You see, Iran can pretty much, as I said, their strength to respond has been degraded and denuded. Now, Strait of Hormuz is very, very important. All of us know that. The only issue is that to what extent has Iran's naval forces been compromised, number one. Number two is they can certainly attack that place from land, but every single day those attacks are going to get weaker and weaker. This is a patient who's in ICU. The regime is crumbling. You see, so Strait of Hormuz is great. Can Iran block it today? Of course, it can cause quite a lot of issues. But then there are forces there. There are the American forces there. There is a carrier group floating around somewhere close by. There are Israeli forces. There are other friendly forces, and nobody wants the Strait of Hormuz to close. So when Iran does it, Iran creates more enemies. It is not that the Arabs are in love with Iran, by the way. Most of the Arab heads of state despise Iran for what Iran has done to their respective countries. But the fact of the matter is that, yes, it will cause temporary disruption. There is no doubt about it. It will cause temporary disruption. It will impact oil prices. In the long run, I think in the long run, this bitter medicine was required.
Now, there are many who believe that, cyber attacks are imminent, like we've seen in the past on US banks and on Saudi Aramco. I don't know, I don't want to get into conjecture, but Major Arya, given the track record of Iran and the kind of commentary we've been seeing and the posturing, like you said, that Khamenei has already proposed 3 successors. So that tells you something.
No, absolutely. See, when you're talking about cyber attacks, of course it can be done. Of course it will be done. But see, again, these are like, for example, Israel's attack was hardcore kinetic. It was hardcore kinetic. Response to a kinetic attack must be disproportionate kinetic attack. Does Iran have the capability for disproportionate kinetic attack? If Israel bombs them 10 times, does Iran have the capacity and the capability? Where are the supply chains? They have been disrupted. Who is giving Iran bombs and missiles to fire? Their ballistic missiles facilities have been bombed. Their nuclear facilities have been bombed. Every day they are spending what they have. There is no new manufacturing, to the best of my knowledge. A few Chinese planes coming from here and there doesn't necessarily shore up their level of their armaments to use against Israel. And what is happening today? Israel is getting all the stuff from Europe, mostly from America. So yes, cyber attacks here and there, of course they will happen. But again, these are the, dying spasms of a falling regime. They will do something. They will carry out terror attacks. They might even bomb a couple of ships, cyber attacks on all of that, but nothing coordinated like we saw 1 week back. It's not going to happen now. Every single day, there will be attacks from Iran towards Israel, even to ships, but they are going to go down slowly and slowly. And one last thing which I want to add here is, don't be surprised if in the next 2 weeks, Saudi Arabia joins the fray. Don't be surprised.
Okay.
Major Arya.
In fact, Pranesh, I just want to ask Major Arya about what Khamenei's first response has been. And he says very clearly that the American troops are going to be on target. So in terms of supply chain, the Red Sea is also going to be targeted. But they have spoken about a missile attack on US naval fleet in Bahrain.
Yes, that is bound to happen. See, when you go for war, you know that there will be damage to you. America understands. So now it's a game of, can they shoot down the missile? And what is America's response going to be? Because if American servicemen die, if American assets are hit, then America will respond even more, strongly. Right now, it's only B-2s. Then you're going to have F-35s having the run of the day. They'll turn Tehran into Gaza. You see, it's very simple for the Americans. They have assets there. They have platforms there. They'll just go on bombing raids 24/7. By the clock, they're going to start bombing. So yes, they will be hit, and that's okay because that happens in war. But what is the construct of America's retaliation? That is what we must note.
Okay, all right. I request our guests to stay with us. The United States has launched an unprecedented attack on 3 nuclear sites in Iran. For those joining us now, these sites include the facility at Isfahan as well as their underground facilities at Natanz and Fordow. Let's get you a detailed explanation